Hello, dear learners. Welcome to today's presentation. I am Dr. Anuj Kanti Dash, and I am a general and laparoscopic surgeon. And in my previous videos, I have discussed on how or what histories we need to take in a patient presenting to us with a lump or a swelling. Today, we are going to learn about what thing we need to do on inspection, or how we will inspect the patient presenting with a lump. Okay, let's start our journey. The disclaimer as usual. Okay. In our previous videos, we have stated that the basic principles of short case are report, permission, hand wash, exposure, position. That means we have done a good report, we have taken the permission from the patient, and we have washed our hand, and we have exposed properly and wide exposure, and we have positioned ourselves as well as the patient. Like if the patient is having a lump in a foot, in leg, then I will ask our authority to bring a tool and lift up patient's foot on the table, and we will examine. That means the eye level of examinee, that means myself, will be at the level of the lump. So minded about the position and exposure, as well as not only the local examination, but it would be wise to give a thorough look at the patient while inspecting whether this patient is having anything in his hand, like IV cannula or NG tube or even catheter, or whether he is having any pain which will be seen on his face. So don't miss to find a general look of the patient. Okay. Now, on inspection, first of all, we have to mention about the site. And there are some swelling which are very specific for the site, like external angular dermoid. You guys all know that occurs at the external angle of the eyes, or it can be postauricular dermoid, that means that behind the ear, or meningocele, which may occur in the spinal lumbosacral region, or even cervical spine, or even at the root of the nose also. These are very specific, site specific, and as well as cystic hygroma that is commonly occur in the neck. Okay, so these swelling are site specific. Okay, if these swelling are found, you may tell that this dermoid is in the postauricular region, or the dermoid is in the external angular region. Okay, and in other cases, if the sites are not specific, then we have to mention the exact anatomical sites using distance from the bony points. Like in that swelling, we are saying that there is a huge swelling in the left mid back actually. So while we are describing the site, we may tell that the swelling that we have to mention about the bony point. Okay, so if I find that this is inferior angle of the scapula, so we will tell that this is 1 centimeter above or below from the inferior angle of the scapula, the superior surface, but superior border. The lateral border is 2 centimeter from the mid spine, and medial border is 10 centimeter from the mid spine, and the lower border is 8 centimeter, near about 8 centimeter from the inferior angle of the scapula. If we describe in such way, mentioning the exact bony points as well as the distance, then we can assume that at which place the swelling is actually having. So we have to describe the landmarks and actual distance while describing. Like in that image also, that swelling is just below the elbow cubital fossa. So we may tell that 2 centimeter or how long from the cubital fossa. So mind it that while we are describing the site, the anatomical terms also, like that is in the flexure surface. So we may tell that this is a flexure surface or extensor surface or palmar or dorsum. So mention lower forearm, upper forearm, like that is in upper forearm. So use those terms that specifies the location. So that is the most important thing. Now another thing is shape. Shape, there are many shapes actually. This is, one is ovoid. Ovoid means that is oval shape, that means egg shape. Okay, that is the shape is wider and longer also, and that the dimensions are not equal actually. Okay, then the shape can be spherical or globular, near round. Actually, this is spherical or globular. Okay, it can be hemispherical. This is half of the sphere. Okay, or it cannot be round or circular. Mind it that we cannot tell that the swelling is round or circular. You may tell that the spherical, but sphere is also round. No, we know the globe is a sphere and it is not round actually. It's like orange, kamla lebar moto. So a swelling cannot be round or circular because it is, the swelling is a three-dimensional figure, but a round or circular thing is a plane figure. And in case of a swelling, okay, we will visualize only one part. Say for example, if any swelling is visible, we are seeing that upper part. Okay, but the rest part will be inside the muscle or inside the skin, which will not be visualized. So we cannot tell that the swelling is round or circular. Or even we can tell that swelling is irregular. If a swelling is irregular, is not in any kind of shape, like it is not ovoid or it is not globular, it is hemispherical, not, we can tell that it is an irregular swelling. Okay. Other than that, there are some swelling which are named after some organs or some species, like kidney. Kidney sometimes called it is bean shaped. Or if you find a kidney is enlarged, you may tell that it is a bean shaped swelling. Okay. Or the thyroids. Thyroids are like this butterfly. It's also called butterfly shape. Or that parotid. Parotid is described as inverted pyramid shape. Or even that indirect hernia is described as pyriform shape. Okay, so though these shapes are not, the teachers don't like to hear the description in that form, but in your books that things are written. So if you tell these swellings, the butterfly swelling, butterfly shaped swelling in front of the neck, or inverted pyramid shaped swelling in front of the or a left side of the face, that would not be that wrong, I think. Next is size. Okay, as you are inspecting, so you cannot tell the approximate, you cannot tell the actual size. You will say the approximate size. Like I will describe that the swelling is 3 centimeter and 2 centimeter approximately. And some like to describe some swelling in as a pia 1 centimeter, peanut, grape 3 centimeter. But I think that is not at all right to describe, because a pea can be 5 centimeter also size also. Okay, a grape can be 1 centimeter size also. So avoid to describe swelling in those names. Okay, but while you are describing a size and shape, mind it that what shape you are telling and what is your dimension. Like a globular swelling, in case of a globular shaped swelling, if you tell that the swelling is 5 centimeter into 3 centimeter, then that will be wrong. Because a globular shaped swelling, that means its length and breadth or something will be equal. So you may say say the 5 centimeter into 5 centimeter. Or in case of oval swelling, you'd say that 3 into 3 centimeter. That would be wrong also. You might tell that 5 centimeter and 3 centimeter. So while describing, try to maintain that there is a correlation between the size and shape, and you have to maintain while describing. Okay, then you have to say about the number. You know, there are multiple swellings and there is a neurofibromatosis and Dicam's disease. So you have to mention that how many swellings are there. Then the one thing is important, it is condition of the overlying skin. And the skin condition may be different as a color. Like that color is like strawberry. It is also called strawberry angioma, actually, hemangioma. Or the swelling may be blackish in color. You guys all know that it's mole or melanoma. Okay. Or the swelling can be erythematous. Okay. Which signifies that there is acute inflammation. Okay. So condition of the overlying skin is important. Like in case of hydrocele, okay, the rugosity of the scrotal skin is lost. You have to mention. In case of huge distension, huge ascites, the abdomen will be skin will be tensed. So you have to mention. Okay. So rugosity will be lost, or if the rugosity is more, you have to mention this. So these are things about the overlying skin condition. As well as in that particular swelling, you guys all know this is a sebaceous cyst, and here is a black dot. If you find that black dot, you may tell that this is a punctum, you guys all know. So mention it. The punctum is seen. Also, in recurrent swelling, there can be scar mark. Okay. You are visualizing a scar mark over that region. So mention about the scar mark. Okay. So you have to mention the scar mark as well. And also if there is any sinus tract, periaqueous sinus, or any sinus tract, so you have to mention about in the heading of condition of the overlying skin. And some swelling will be pulsated. You guys will describe it later. So if you find any visible pulsation, okay, so you can tell that visible pulsation is seen. Even if the patient has got epigastric pulsation or apical pulsation, and if it is visualized on your examination, you may describe it also. Okay, and there are some visible veins also. Okay, and visible veins over the swelling, though this is a varicose vein, but if the swellings are, if there is visible veins over the swelling, you have to mention. Okay, the visible pulsation, visible veins. And next is cuff impulse. You guys all know that in case of hernia, we have to look for the cuff impulse. We have to ask the patient for cuff, to give a cuff, and on cuffing, if there is an impulse is seen, that is called visible impulse on cuffing. So inspection, that findings is known as visible impulse on cuffing. And on palpation, when we feel the cuff impulse, then we will call that expansile or palpable impulse on cuffing. So mind it. On inspection, it is called visible impulse on cuffing, and on palpation, that is called expansile impulse on cuffing. Okay. Sometimes the patient may be very young patient, children who will have some hernia or hydrocele, something like that. In that cases, how will you give cuff? So in that cases, he will not cuff. You will need to make the children cry. Okay. Okay, so in examination, it is not necessary, but in your practice, private practice, that will be needed. You have to make the children cry to see for the cuffing impulse. In case of your clinical examination exam, you will ask his mother about development of swelling while crying. Okay, or in your private practice, if you want to ask the patient to cry, you simply can pinch him or her. He will cry, or you may separate his or her mother from her. Then the child will cry definitely. Okay, so the cuff impulse is possible in few swellings. You have to tell the hernia, the inguinal hernia, the femoral hernia, the epigastric hernia, the incisional hernia. There are lots of hernias. In every case, the cuff impulse will be visible. Or any swelling in the chest or abdominal cavity. Okay, so you have to look for the cuff impulse test. Or any scalp swelling. Okay, there is bone indentation. You have to go for the cuff impulse test, both inspection and palpation. Or in spinal swelling, like meningocele, or in such cases, we need to ask the patient to cuff to look for visible impulse on cuffing. Okay, and in case of heart, other than this, there are some other swelling where cuff impulse is positive, like saphenous varix or varicocele. So I think that is all what you need to inspect in a patient with swelling. So if I want to summarize again, so you will go for the site first, then shape, then size. Okay, then you can mention about the number, even the surface and margin, though these things will be mentioned in the palpation. Then overlying skin condition, its color, or its sinus tract, or visible pulsation, or visible vein, or scar mark, or even in the punctum, seen or not, and the cuff impulse also. So I think that's all for today. The things you need to practice very much, or otherwise the simple things will be missed in your examination. And একটা আমাদের স্যারদের একটা অভ্যাস ছিল যে যদি কেউ একটা সিম্পল থিং মিস্টেক করে তাহলে ওইটা নিয়ে আমরা জিজ্ঞাসা করি। এটা পরীক্ষার একটা ধর্ম। সো বারবার প্র্যাকটিস করে সিম্পল জিনিসগুলোকে এর মিস্টেক না হয় সেটা আমার সবার কাছে চাওয়া থাকবে। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ ফর ওয়াচিং। থ্যাংক ইউ।